by showing this right here. This right here is a 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. Here we got a 1.5 cups of vegetable broth. We're only going to use right here, when it comes to the butter right here, we're going to use just 4 tablespoons, which is a 1/2 stick. And today I'm gonna be using JO number 2. If you guys been following me for a minute, you know that I started my channel on this right here. This is great with potatoes. So seeing how we doing, you know, cheesy garlic scalloped potatoes, this is it. This is 2 teaspoons. And if you got that Creole kick, you can substitute that and use this also. Here we got kosher salt, black pepper, flour, minced garlic. I'm gonna go ahead and show the star of the whole show. This is about 5 pounds of russet potatoes. These right here, I'm gonna go ahead and wash these, you know, peel them, and then I'm gonna use this mandolin right here, you know, just to slice them down. And I'm probably gonna do them about 1/8 inch thick. They might be a little thinner, but that right there, you just wanna be consistent. Now, we got Parmesan cheese. We got 2 cups. And if you look at the size, look, these are onions right here, but what I did was I kind of like just gave them a chop. You know what I mean? Because we're gonna render them down, so you can either do dice or chop. I saved some time and just did them chopped. Now here, this is 1 cup of pepper jack cheese. Now it's just actually a little bit over that because I like mine to be a little bit on the cheesy side. And I'm gonna show you this right here. Listen, it's 3 cups total. This is just mild cheddar cheese. And listen, I did these from a block. You know what I mean? I shredded them myself. You're gonna need it, the 3 cups total. This is 2 cups here and 1 cup there. Now, with that being said, let me go ahead, wash these, then I'm gonna go ahead and peel them. Then we're gonna go ahead and start slicing them down. Okay, now look, when I'm using the mandolin, listen, you gotta be extra careful, right? You don't wanna cut yourself. So I run a couple of test slices, then I wanna take a look at it, right? So let's look at it together. This is what I like, somewhere right around 1/8 inch. That's somewhere right around 3/16, but 1/8 inch should do. You know what I mean? Then go ahead and just assemble it and then just start cutting your slices. And listen, if you don't have a mandolin, it's okay. You can hand cut them, but you want to be uniform. I like these slices. Now look, get yourself a bowl and just go ahead and set them in there. Look, we're gonna be real fast, so we'll put them there. I'm not gonna bore you guys. You know what I mean? We're just gonna continue on this process until we get them all done. Once I have them all done, I'll show you guys the next step. Okay, this was my last one. Here you go. You guys can see them. Just go ahead and put these, and I just leave these like this. I don't soak them in water because I'm trying to keep all of that moisture out of my, you know, I'm gonna be using the 13x9, you know, Pyrex also. That's what I'm gonna be putting in the oven. So I don't wanna do that. I know they'll turn brown just a little bit, but no worries, because we're getting ready to be super fast, and we're gonna be in the oven in just a minute. Now you wanna go ahead to start, you know, melting your butter under like a medium-low heat. Okay, what you're seeing here, look, my butter is melted, right? So just go ahead, we're gonna start with our onions. Just go ahead and put these in. Remember, I'm on a medium-low. Now once we get these, you know, going for about, I'm gonna say, about 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my minced garlic. And right now at a medium, that's somewhere right around 275 degrees. Now I got all the onions, you know, they coated with that butter. So now we'll just leave them alone and let them work. It's been 3 minutes. What I did was, I just reduced the fire back down to about 220. So it's in between medium and a medium low, right? Because we're getting ready to put our minced garlic in. Now we're just gonna work this around just for a few minutes, and we don't wanna burn it. So by me doing this, we're gonna be cooking this for a little while. So that's why I just said, you know, reduce the heat. Just keep going like this. Now I'm gonna let it settle. Once I got it mixed up pretty good, I'm gonna spread it so everything is down on the bottom. We're just gonna let it cook for about 1 minute. I guess I should say the right word. We're just gonna let it saute for about 1 minute. It's been about a little bit over a minute, right? So we in about 4.5 minutes total on the onions, and then about 1.5 minutes, you know, with the garlic, right? So now you wanna go ahead and take your flour, and you just wanna go ahead and sprinkle it on top. We just keep doing that. We're gonna cook some of this raw flour taste out. And what it's doing is that flour is starting to absorb, you know, the flavors from the garlic, you know, that butter and them onions. We'll just let that do its thing for about just 1 minute. You want to get your vegetable broth, right? So after this has been cooking down a little bit, we've been putting some heat on that. Now we're gonna stir this again slowly. Just a little bit at a time. Get it to loosen up. That way it's not too thick on you. You can see it. Look, once it starts incorporating with the flour, just add a little bit more. And this right here, if you guys been watching me for a minute, now you know this is starting to look like making a gravy, huh? And you'll see it's starting to thicken up. We don't want to cook it all the way down yet, but we just want to keep it so it looks just like what you see right here. This consistency right there. Now, I'm gonna go ahead, sprinkle in my pepper, my J.O., my seasoning, my salt. Now I'm bringing this closer because I'm gonna continue to mix this and get this going. Now you're starting to see the flavor of this. Hey, this right here, I know y'all thinking about that gravy, but when it comes to gravy, hey, this family here, we get down with that gravy. Now, keep it going. It's starting to cook down, thicken up, right? So now we want to add our heavy whipping cream, just a little bit at a time, till we get it all in here. Then we're gonna cook this down until it thickens up a little bit itself. Just like you see here. Then we're gonna taste it. And if anything needs to be adjusted, we'll adjust it from there. And be careful that you don't splash all over your plate, all over yourself. This right here is key. I'm gonna move it up to medium, 275 degrees, right? A medium flame. So I'm gonna keep this moving like this. And right before it becomes, once I start seeing maybe just one bubble, it's starting to boil, what I do is I just remove it from the fire. We set that aside, and then we'll start assembling the whole thing. Now, I want you guys to look. You see that right there? It's getting ready to come to a boil. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop it. Now, what I'm doing is, listen, you wanna cut it. If you're using a flame, you just wanna remove it from the flame because you don't want it to boil, right? So I set it on my cutting board, and what I'm doing is, you remember we separated our cheese. We had 2 cups and 1 cup. You take that the one that had the 2 cups of the cheddar, and then you just want to go ahead and pour it in there, and we're gonna let the heat, because remember it was just getting ready to start to boil. And then you just want to add your 2 cups of shredded cheese and just give it a stir, and then we're gonna let it sit up. Now, get yourself, get your pan or whatever you're using. Listen, here I made a mistake, and I'm gonna remember this when it comes time to clean it. You want to spray it with a non-stick, spray, right? And this is the sour cream, which you guys didn't see in the very beginning, but that's 1 cup. Get yourself a spatula and then go ahead and start putting it on there, because we're gonna layer everything in thirds. So it's gonna be 1/3 of your sour cream. So I brought my sauce back over here, right? So we're gonna do everything in thirds. We're doing 1/3 of our potatoes, 1/3 of our sour cream, 1/3 of our cheeses, and 1/3 of our cheese sauce. So this might get a little messy, but we're just gonna add a little bit like this. We just want to use 1/3, that's all. Now, after getting that, our sauce on there, and then again, you're gonna hear me keep saying the thirds, because listen, that's gonna be real important. You gotta divide it out into 3s. That way you'll have enough at the end. So, we started with our Parmesan. Listen, there's no real order here. You can go pepper jack, then cheddar, Parmesan, whatever you want to do. But just remember, everything in thirds, and then we start to repeat the process, and that's gonna be in thirds until it's completely done. Okay, so remember, I did everything in thirds. And I gotta tell you guys this, I had to grade some more cheese just because I was just being so generous on layer number 2. So here it is, so you guys can see it. Now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and put some foil on it. I'm gonna stick it in the oven, and when I put it in the oven, we gonna go for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Now, after 1.5 hours, listen, we come out of there, and now you want to be real careful when it comes to removing this foil, because it's going to be hot. It's going to be a lot of steam. It'll burn your fingertips. And then listen, so once we open it, what we're going to do is we're going to be careful. Then we're going to get ourselves a toothpick, and then we're going to use a toothpick to check to see the doneness of the potatoes. And after that, if those are good, we're going to go back into the oven for about 20 minutes to brown the cheese. Okay, as you guys can see, look, it's, boiling, got a little color over the top. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna let it, rest for about, look at that. Ah, yeah, we about to tear into this.